I just wanted to do a little video talking about my health journey and the diet that I'm choosing to try. So I've read a lot of good things about carnivore in regards to some of the current health chronic issues that I've actually been going through for a long time now. Probably the most long-term health issue that I've been suffering with since I would say childhood was chronic food sensitivity / seasonal allergies. It seemed like it got a little better early adulthood, and then a little shortly after that, it's like it hit me almost tenfold. Was not diagnosed formally as a child, but I definitely had anxiety disorder, on and off depression since I was 14. I did have TMJ pretty bad when I was very young, which probably kind of went hand in hand with some of the anxiety, night terror stuff I was having to deal with at a young age. I didn't really tell anyone about it. When I did try to tell my mom about it, she didn't really want to believe it was happening to her daughter, so there's just kind of that whole go through it on your own phase and just trying to think that, okay, is this normal? Like just feeling like the oddball out, just like the weirdo. I also dealt with migraines on and off, and it usually seemed like it stemmed from when I would have like allergy pollen flares. I would always kind of get this pain in the back of my teeth, and a lot of times it would sort of just move up to my head and I would just be debilitated with these awful migraines. So, I mean, childhood-wise and early upbringing, that was kind of the main stuff I was struggling with. And then on to adulthood comes a whole new host of stuff, unfortunately. So later on into adulthood, 4 or 5 years ago, I got COVID for the first time. It was the Delta strain. It hit me really, really hard, I guess, because I ended up getting POTS from it and chronic fatigue. What POTS is, if you don't know, is it's dysautonomia. It's where your nervous system basically is malfunctioning. The things that your the autonomic nervous system do naturally, they struggle to regulate. Heart rate, body temperature. I would have awful sweats, hot sweats at night. I would get terrible tachycardia at night to the point where I had to go to the ER a couple times because I just woke up with it and it wasn't stopping. It was pretty terrifying. Thank God that went away about after 6 months of trying some clean eating. But really, I've always been quite a healthy person, more than the average, I would say. Always been into natural health, probably since late teens, early adulthood, and it only developed stronger from there. I just kept getting more and more into it. Kind of explains, my profession. I do massage therapy. I try to be in tune with my body, in tune with other people's body, and I do strongly believe in the mind-body connection as well. So lots of just health issues. Since the COVID / long COVID, it's been really up and down. There hasn't been really one silver bullet that just really made a huge difference for me, unfortunately. I mean, I literally have tried everything. So growing up, I'd say, for the most part, into adulthood, plant-based for the most part. I dabbled with veganism probably for a good 6 months or longer. Felt like utter shit with that. Then vegetarianism, nothing greatly improved with that. I was still having quite chronic fatigue and bad allergy issues / headaches. So I did all that, and I was just like, I did all these cleanses, juice cleansing, spinach smoothies, grape cleanses, fasting, you name it. And here I am, early 30s or whatever. It just always almost felt like I was going downhill instead of making strides with my health. So that about sums that up. What led me to wanting to try everything possible to get better is I just want my life back. I feel too young to feel with the chronic fatigue. I mean, you're left disabled feeling. The depression is very real. You feel like your motivation, your inspiration, your creativity, everything that made you is just, it's just been so hard to get back. And trying all the Western medicine route, seeing that fail, having doors just pretty much shut in my face, telling me I'm just mentally ill. And I know I'm not alone on this. Tons of people on Long COVID Forum or other people that struggle with long-term chronic illnesses, I've been hearing that a lot, and it's fucking bullshit and it's terrible. You know, and that does make me distrust Western medicine, very rightly so. And like others say, it does have its place, but that's a whole nother story. Not preventative. It terribly greatly sucks at as preventative medicine goes. So I've been working with the naturopath a little bit. I just do phone calls. They're in South Carolina. I did heavy metals testing. Turns out I was very high in thallium and cesium, which are, they're radioactive heavy metals. They can cause mitochondrial dysfunction, chronic fatigue, dizziness, headaches, basically everything I've been feeling, you know, to various degrees on and off a lot of my life. Also, yeah, vertigo. Vertigo is another one that I go through quite a bit. What's been leading me to keto/carnivore, I'm starting with keto and I would like to transition into carnivore. Right now I'd say I'm in between. I've been trying the keto diet. I'm about 30 days in. There's some really positive things I noticed, and then there were times that I was just kind of hit with, like, ran over by a train, just complete crippling fatigue and everything. And it's a very drastic diet change. We go from, personally myself, I eat tons of fruit, lots of rice. I mean, my carb intake daily, I'm sure, is easily at least 1 to 300 grams probably. So I'm going from that, and then overnight, I did it pretty quick. I go all in, I go all out. I'm a little bit OCD that way. Stubborn. But I went all out. I did kind of titrate slowly. I have an app called Carb Manager, and it's really helping with macros and seeing if you're meeting like your ketogenic macros, which is very high fat, moderate protein, and then very low carbs. So I started with lowering my carbs pretty quickly over the course of a couple weeks, and then I'd say the last 2 weeks at least or so, I've been about 20 grams carbs per day. Carb flu is a real thing. Don't let anyone tell you it isn't. I definitely felt bedbound on and off there for at least a good week. There were positive things I noticed in terms of my mental health. I'd say the depression, you don't know unless you're going through it, but starting this diet, I noticed that I was starting to just laugh a lot more. It's something that almost kind of feels when you're depressed like it's been robbed from you. It's just not something that comes naturally or easily. It's like there's this block somewhere deep inside you, and I found myself laughing a lot, like very giddily at probably the most silly, unfunny things, but to me that was just a huge hope signaling for me. And I was getting over the carb flu. I started going on my long bike rides again because I love to bike ride, and I felt like my stamina was getting very well. Muscle endurance definitely increased. I wasn't doing this for weight loss, so I'd say weight is the same, but I feel like I've leaned out a little bit and gained very healthy muscle doing this, especially incorporating lots of meat, because I'm kind of doing the transition slowly, so I'm trying to get a nice big carnivore meal at least every day. I feel really good when I eat steak, and being vegan and vegetarian for all that time growing up, and just like wondering like, hey, why something ain't right, you know, I'm not feeling any wealth or health is wealth, but I wasn't feeling any stress. So another thing about coming off of a very heavy plant-based diet, there is anti-nutrients in many plants. Explains why every time I would eat a big salad or a vegetable heavy meal, I would feel extremely bloated. Nothing would be regular. It didn't seem like a healthy situation for my digestive system. But there are these things called oxalates in plants, and they basically rob your body of minerals, and they are literally plant toxins. This kind of adds another little piece to the puzzle, especially for my chronic health stuff. quite possibly something I dealt with most of my life, as heavy into eating plants as I was. But going quite quickly into such a huge diet change where you are eating lots of salads and fruits and all of a sudden it's very minimal, if any, there's something called oxalate dumping. I've been in about a week not doing any fruits and barely any veggies. It's hitting me now personally. Symptoms are crazy. You can read up on it. There's a book by Sally Norton. She's very good at explaining it into more depth. But that can make you very tired, not want to do anything, going to the bathroom, having to pee like frequently. I mean, this has all just started to hit me this morning, like every symptom she talks about. So I definitely noticed a shift, and apparently these things, they come and go in waves, so it's sort of something your body has to filter through. When it's ready, dump it, hold off for a while, dump it, and it can take weeks, or if it's a very, very long, complex case, depending on your genetics, it could take like months and months. So it's just another fun thing to get to deal with, but I'm trying to stay positive through it, and literally seeing the crystal sediment in my urine is letting me know I'm getting some toxic stuff out for sure. So that gives me positivity, even though I've been pretty much dead to the world today, because I really am getting hit pretty heavy with this. Things you can do. I'll do another video about things you can do and get into depth with that, but a couple things that have been helping me is definitely upping electrolyte intake, calcium, magnesium. Those bind to oxalates, so if you are switching pretty hard and drastically to a little to no oxalate diet, definitely make sure you're getting adequate amounts of calcium, potassium, and magnesium. Yeah, I mean, it's just the start of my journey. I'm feeling hopeful. Like I said, I felt some strides, some positive things early on. More stamina, a little bit less headaches, just the laughter, which I haven't seen within me naturally for quite a long time. So that was a really big deal to me. That let me know something was changing in my biochemistry. Like, I really do think and believe I've been malnourished for quite a long time. I've been prone to like restrictive eating a lot, always thinking less calories in, gonna burn the fat. I used to have, little problems with like body dysmorphia and stuff like that. So I was on a lot of very low calorie things. I remember a time in my life I was only eating 600 calories a day. So I do believe my body wasn't getting the nutrients. My naturopath also suspects I have leaky gut, which is another layer to not absorbing foods. So, but with the high fat, high protein, the steaks, the eggs, seafood, butter, I really do feel satiated. I eat less. I feel full. I feel satisfied. And I really like that. I'm feeling like I'm getting more in tune with my body in that regard. So that's something that I'm happy about. So anyways, like I said, been about a month. Going to slowly transition, and I'll keep doing videos, but I will be soon going full carnivore when I feel like the oxalate situation is settled and most of that is out of me. All right, guys, thanks for listening.